Formula One were given a civic reception in their Northamptonshire hometown today.
Nearly 2,000 people gathered in Brackley to celebrate Brawn GP's victory in the championship last season. Some of the team's employees joined Ross Brawn in an open-top bus parade.
They're responsible for building Formula One's fastest car, but today Brawn GP were in the slow lane, savouring the applause as people squeezed to get a view of their heroes.
I just like to see happy people, and there's a lot of happy people around today.
It's incredible, really, how they've come from sort of nowhere, first year. It's marvellous, isn't it, really?
As stories go, Brawn's achievement is straight out of a fairy tale. Back in spring, when Honda pulled the plug, the team's 2,000 employees feared for their jobs. But in stepped Chief Engineer Ross Brawn, and the rest is history.
Everybody's saying to me that they like to see happy people, and boy, have you put smiles on people's faces today.
They put a big smile on our face, I promise you. It's fantastic.
Could you have thought this back in March when you took the team over, that this would have been possible?
No, I think it's a year that'll be impossible to forget. It's fantastic.
It's not just Ross, don't forget, it's the whole team in Brackley. All the people that were part of Honda before, and then the demise of Honda left a lot of skillful staff here in Brackley, and the team went on from strength to strength, really, through those dark days in the winter where we all thought the team was going to, well, just diminish into nothing. And Ross and Nick, they pulled it through, made the team work well, and it was such a close bond this year because of that.
Most of those who came today knew someone who'd played a part in the team's success. This was a moment Brackley was going to cherish.
Just a great occasion in Northamptonshire. To see so many people is just fascinating, unbelievable.
Brawn have put Brackley on the map, and for that, the community will be eternally grateful. Pam Melbourne, BBC Look East.
What an afternoon. Well, back now to our two lead stories. In a moment, your thoughts on the doctor's out-of-hours service. But first, nuclear power. We've heard from Kevin Birch at Sizewell, but Bradwell in Essex is also on the list. Gareth George has been speaking to people in that area.
Richard Howard grows Mersey Island oysters, revered by gastronomes around the world. But he's worried a new power station on the Blackwater estuary would destroy the oyster beds.
And the Blackwater is quite a landlocked river in some ways, and therefore it would surely affect the temperature regime in the river, and if the temperature was to go up very much, it could certainly affect the oysters.
Clearly visible from Mersey, the rusting hulk of the old nuclear power station, still being dismantled. And although there was confirmation today that the government still sees Bradwell as a prime nuclear site, any developer who submits an application for a new power station will have a fight on their hands.
The opposition around the Bradwell site is extremely strong. It's been vocal, it's been vigorous, and it's been consistent, and it will continue, because we feel on that site it's a very, very poor choice for a nuclear power station.
While it seems many here on Mersey would hate to see a new power station, across the estuary in the village of Bradwell itself, the view is very different. Locals say the village desperately needs the jobs a new power station would create. But even here, talk of fast-tracking a planning application causes concern.
Because I don't think there'd be any consultation with local residents, because obviously everyone needs to have their say.
I don't think that's fair, because a lot of people who go for planning have to do it the right route. So for them to fast-track it, it's not fair on everyone else.
It's got to be thought through and done properly, yeah.
Opponents say global warming should rule Bradwell out. They believe eventually it will be underwater. Gareth George, BBC Look East.
And now the out-of-hours doctor service sacked by the local NHS after a string of complaints about how it treated its patients. Mike Liggins has been taking your calls. Mike.
Thanks, Susie. Yes, we've had lots of interesting calls, so thank you very much indeed. Michael Crawford phoned from Sudbury. He's had to use Take Care now 3 times, and he says they've been excellent on every occasion. His wife has swine flu at the moment, and the doctor came out within 2 hours last night. Geraldine Brooks, who lives near Wisbech, phoned to tell us about her son, Andrew. Now, he suffers migraines. He started feeling unwell on a Friday night. By Saturday evening, he was very poorly, so a call was made to an out-of-hours service. They said they'd get back in 4 hours. 11 hours later, they eventually phoned back, by which time Andrew, exhausted, had gone to bed. He says they were very, very dismissive. Roy Cook, who lives near Bury St Edmunds, takes tablets for hypertension, and on the last weekend in August he became unwell. His wife made the first call to the out-of-hours service at 6:45 on the Saturday evening. She phoned again at 8:45, 2:45, and eventually a doctor arrived at 5 a.m, some 10 hours after the first phone call. We were wondering if we should have phoned 999, says Roy, but you just don't like to do that. And finally, we had a call from Emma, who works for the East of England Ambulance Service, which provides out-of-hours service. And she says it doesn't work. People have just given up even trying to use it. So what they do is they phone 999 and that they get inundated with jobs that could be dealt with by GPs. Back to you.
Mike, thank you very much. Let's get the weather with Jules.
Thanks very much, Susie. Well, we'll start off with a photograph taken by John yesterday evening. The sun going down over Burnham Overy. And actually, there was some sunshine today as well. But at 1 or 2 isolated showers. And out in the west, well, this band of rain. Now, this is set to move on through tomorrow. Well, I say move on through. The front it's associated with will. But it now looks like a lot of this rain will have fizzled by the time it gets to us. But more about that in a moment. As for tonight, it does look like it's going to be dry, fairly widespread low cloud, mist and fog though, and it's going to be a chilly night. Temperatures down to around 1 or 2 degrees Celsius with mainly light winds, those winds just a touch stronger on the Suffolk coast. Now tomorrow this front does eventually push in from the west. It'll be moving over the top of the mist and fog, so that means some of that will linger for a good part of the day in some parts, and even if you lose the mist and fog, it's likely to be quite cloudy, a few bright or sunny intervals and perhaps a little bit of light and patchy rain, but it now, as I said, looks as if that rain will have fizzled by the time it reaches most of us. Temperatures at best about 8 to 10 Celsius with the winds light and variable inland, but they're more like northwesterly in direction around the coast. Then it's largely dry on Wednesday, Thursday early rain giving way to some brighter conditions and possibly some wet and windy weather for Friday and Saturday. And just before I go, there's your overnight lows. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Jules.
Well, just before we go, a word about tonight's edition of Inside Out, which is on in half an hour's time. Find out how you could live somewhere like this, the magnificent Delapre Abbey in Northampton, for just £50 a week.
And the team will be investigating so-called car matching schemes. They've brought unhappy customer Kaylee from Essex to this office in Hertfordshire to see if she can get her money back. That's at 7:30 here on BBC One. That's all from us for this evening. Have a very good evening, won't you?
Bye for now.
Goodbye.